Welcome God of War fans! My name is Shayne Static, and in this God of War theory video, I will be discussing the secrets of the dragons in God of War. To help me out with this video, and to make sure you all have the best experience possible, I invited my friend Harsha to help me out. What's up, dude?
Yeah, I'm doing amazing, bro, and thank you so much for featuring me in this video where we actually share about our thoughts and lore of Norse mythology. And yeah, releasing dragons was one of my favorite side quests in God of War. I mean, it was so much fun to do. It has such a great backstory. Each and every character, each and every dragon has its own backstory in Norse mythology. And I also think it's a very underrated topic or quest that people actually talk about. We thought it would be cool to just talk about dragons in a video. So here we go, we're actually doing it. It's happening. So Shayne, back to you, man.
Be sure to leave a like if you did enjoy your time here, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future content. Here we go. The dragons that we release in God of War, well, if you did the missions because they are an optional side quest, was one of my favorite parts of God of War 2018. Just the awesome designs alone was a huge surprise and made me wish there was more in this game. Well, there kinda was, because Baldur had a dragon, which we fought him on its back, but that's kinda besides the point. But did anyone else out there just want to fight the dragon instead of releasing them? Yeah, you're not alone there. And Cory Barlog is in agreement. Here is Cory Barlog in an interview with Easy Allies, which he comments on the matter of the dragons in future games.
Yeah, the dragons, like, when we first started talking about those, I was like, I want an enemy that you don't fight, right? Yeah. And it's like, hey, you're actually going to do something good, right? But in typical fashion, who knows what that's going to manifest as, right?
Especially
these
in
are the
God of
things
War,
that it's like, hey, you're going to go through and you're going to free these 3 dragons. They're very specific dragons.
Yeah.
And maybe later in the future of these games, they might come back. And will you regret that you did that? I don't know, man. That's what's so cool about it, is that you place all these things and who knows what's going to come back.
So Cory basically says that we might regret releasing the dragons, and that they may make a comeback in the future of God of War. What made me very curious is when they said they are very specific dragons, so it made me look further into the mythology behind each of the dragons. And what I found was very cool and exciting, which is what I'm going to share with you all with the help of Harsha. So let's take a look at the dragons that we release in God of War. There are 3 which are named Reginn, Otter, and Fafnir. So at first look, I only recognize Fafnir from Mythology, and of course the Vikings TV show, but that's besides the point, even though I love the show. Moving on.
So coming to Fafnir, he was a dragon. Literally they took it from the mythology, they did not change how he looked, right? But we all know that Fafnir was not always a dragon. He was a dwarf first. He was the son of Hridmar, who is a very powerful sorcerer of dark magic, and also a farmer. So one fateful day, Fafnir's brother was slain by Loki. Fafnir's brother was also a user of dark magic, but he mostly used it to shapeshift. So his brother was out fishing in shape of an otter. On the other hand, Loki, Odin, and Odin's brother Hymir were out hunting and found an otter with a salmon on a riverbank. Loki threw a rock and hit the otter so hard that it instantly killed it. So picking up his skill and the fish, they made their way further into the area and then came across a farm which belonged to Hridmar. So they just asked him for a shelter for the night, and they said that they would share their food as a payment. After showing Hridmar their kill, he summoned Fafnir and his other son and binded the gods because he recognized the otter as his son. Hridmar took them prisoner. The gods pleaded for their lives, and Hridmar stated that they were to repay him in gold, the amount that would fit inside the skin of the otter and to cover every single inch of it. So the gods agreed to it, and Loki ran to Svartalheim to find the treasure from the dwarf Envari. Loki took all of his treasure, including a ring that produces gold on its own. And yeah, I think it's the same ring that we find in God of War. But hey, back to myth. With all of this treasure, the field uncovered the otter skin, but a single whisker protruded from the treasure, so Hridmar insisted it to be covered. Odin, hoping to hold on to the ring, reluctantly placed it over the whisker in accordance with their deal. Seeing that the gods paid the debt, Hridmar released the gods and they were on their way.
Now Fafnir felt that he deserved payment for the capture of the gods, but his father did not agree. Since it was his house and his plan, he would keep the treasure for himself. Fafnir was outraged. So outraged, he plotted the death of his father with his living brother. So that night, or a night not long after, Fafnir killed his father in his sleep and took his treasure. Now Fafnir after this was confronted by his brother, who wanted his share of the treasure, but, like his father, Fafnir refused to give his brother any of it. And one day, Fafnir fled the farm with the treasure to a place called Nithheath, where he created a lair for himself and his treasure, and turned into a dragon. Okay, now let's look at this story a little more closely. Fafnir's brothers, one killed by Loki and one helped conspire against his father. But who are these two brothers and what are their significance in God of War? Well, guess what? The other dragons that we release in God of War, being Otter and Reginn, are the brothers of Fafnir. Yes, that's right. We release Fafnir's brothers in God of War, but who is who in mythology? Let's get into it. Otter in Norse mythology is, like said before, or at least hinted towards, is the son of Hreidmar and brothers to Reginn and Fafnir. Otter, like his father, was a powerful caster of dark magic and can turn into any form that he wanted, but preferred the shape of an otter. Go figure. Now, he is the one slain by Loki in mythology, so that means Reginn is the one that conspired with Fafnir to kill their father. Let's take a closer look at him because his story is a bit more crucial.
Reggin. Man, this guy is such a dick. I hate this guy. So Reginn, like his brothers, was also versed into magic, and obviously he was the brother who helped conspire against Hreidmar with Fafnir, right? They just both planned and they killed his father. After Fafnir slayed his father, Reginn, like Fafnir, wanted his share of gold, but like his father, Fafnir refused and fled with the treasure. Reginn was like, hey, I wanted some share in the gold, man, because we just both made a plan and we killed our father. Now I just want my share. But Fafnir was like, no, I'm getting all the treasure, and he just took the treasure and he just went away. Like, he just flew away with all the treasure. So Reginn was really angry on Fafnir for doing that. So Reginn went to Dwarf King and worked for him as a blacksmith, in which he was very talented. In the time Reginn was the smith to the king, he adopted a foster child by the name of Sigurd. Now, Reginn taught Sigurd many things such as languages, sport, and above all, to fight. As a smith, Reginn created a powerful sword for Sigurd called as Grar, which can be translated roughly to the word wrath. Now, Reginn is out for vengeance against Fafnir because Fafnir obviously did not share the treasure to him. At least Reginn thought he owns half of the treasure. So Reginn was grooming Sigurd to kill his brother Fafnir for his gold. And one fateful day, Sigurd did kill Fafnir, took his treasure, and bought Reginn Fafnir's heart. So some really weird stuff here. Reginn instructed Sigurd to cook the heart for him so that he can eat it. Ew, that sounds really weird, but yeah, it's in the myth. So while he was cooking the heart, Sigurd checked if the heart was done cooking by touching it, but he actually burned his finger in doing that. So he placed his burnt hand in his mouth out of instinct, which was covered with the blood from the heart. Right? He then surprisingly was able to understand the speech of the birds, but the birds have something gruesome to tell him. The birds told Sigurd that Reginn was planning on killing him after he ate the heart. So before Reginn could kill Sigurd, Sigurd killed Reginn by cutting off his head. I mean, it just happened like that, right? It's in the myth, guys. You have to believe it, right? So Sigurd then eats the heart of Fafnir as well as he drinks the Reginn's blood. That end was a little gruesome, but this is what I found out. There is a slight contradiction in the Norwegian tale instead of the Icelandic, in which Reginn is the dragon instead of Fafnir, and Mimir is the foster father of Sigurd instead. So that might play into the story as well, but anything is possible. So Shayne, back to you, man.
Okay, now that we know a lot about the dragons in God of War, let's hear a theory or two of what I think will take place in God of War Ragnarok, or whatever the genius Cory Barlog is going to call it. I think this will happen. Kratos and Atreus are going to be out training and hunting, kinda like they were at the beginning of God of War, but at least this time I think Kratos will have a little better relationship with Atreus. During their training, I am sure they will run into a few kinds of monsters and enemies such as Draugr, wolves, revenants, and others. They will stumble across a river filled with fish. Kratos and Atreus then decide to go fishing or hunting around the river, but something else catches their eye: an otter at the edge of the stream feasting on a fish. Atreus sets himself, pulls back his bow, and fires the arrow. It strikes the otter, but it does not kill it, only wounds it. Kinda like when we hunted the boar Hildisvini in God of War. But the otter is more than just an otter. It transforms into a dwarf, and the dwarf is pissed. We then find out that the otter is actually Otter, the dragon that we released in the last God of War. This is when we settle on a great boss battle. Knowing what we know from mythology, Otter is versed in magic, and his favorite form of magic is shapeshifting. We will fight Otter as he transforms into different animals. Maybe a wolf, a bear, boar, and any other type of creature you can kind of think of. Kratos and Atreus fight Otter in every form that he throws at them, but his final form will be that of a dragon. This is where the battle turns and it becomes much harder to defend against the gigantic dragon. Fight and fight, Kratos and Atreus will have a harder time taking down this dragon than they did in God of War. Somehow, Otter will trap Kratos, and this is where we will first play as Atreus, and we will defeat Otter and save his father. But this death, like many others, will not come with no cost. Reginn will hear of his brother's demise, but does not know who did it. Further into the game, we will come across a new dwarf blacksmith by the name of Reginn. Big surprise, I know. We will come close with Reginn and craft other things from him like we do with Brock and Sindri, but not forever. He will figure out that Kratos and Atreus were the ones who killed his brother. Whether it was a souvenir that they kept from Otter like a piece of armor or some other material, or just by word of mouth, Reginn will be out for revenge for his brother's murder. This is our second fight with a dragon in the game. And you know what I'm thinking? His foster child Sigurd may play a part in this battle, kind of like the Magni and Modi fight in God of War. And we will defeat them both. But we are not going to be leaving empty-handed. I believe we will be giving a new weapon for the game after this fight. The sword Grammar, the one Sigurd used to slay Fafnir in Mythology. Now this may open up some brand new techniques, and maybe Grammar will have some elemental powers, like fire from the Blades of Chaos, and frost from the Leviathan Axe. And it will probably be used for some puzzles and open up new areas. And you know which area I think it will open? Nithheath, the area where Fafnir hoards his treasure within his lair. There might be some more quests and other things to do in the area, but the main thing to do here is to fight Fafnir. Maybe there will be some really good upgradables hidden in his lair, or a piece of lore that will possibly explain further into Kratos' past. Kinda like the pot in Tyr's temple. But there has to be something good in that lair of treasure, right? Now let's hear a theory from Claw's Harsha. Take it away, bud.
Okay, now you guys actually heard a theory from Shayne. That was actually a blast when I first heard it, because Reginn will actually craft for us, and then he will turn his back against us knowing that we killed his brother. Being a dwarf, he can actually create this amazing weaponry which he can actually use against us. So we don't have any idea about that still. It is amazing as it is, and I'm actually looking forward to it happening in the next game. Coming up to my theory, well, I believe Odin has a big role in our fight with the dragons. Corey in an interview said that we will regret bringing up the dragons. So that means something big is coming from the dragons, and it is not so good. And we already know that Kratos has to go against all the odds in the next game, and Odin will take any chance to kill off Kratos from the prophecy so that he can actually survive the Ragnarok, right? I think Odin will trick Sigurd. He is the son of Reginn. So Odin will manipulate Sigurd's mind to kill us, and at some point in the game we will actually kill him, and this is going to make Reginn hunt us. Right, so we set him free in God of War 2018, and he's actually roaming out there. We don't know where he's going, and he's just actually roaming out there. Maybe he just wants to go to his son Sigurd, but the reality is we actually killed him, and this is going to make Reginn go mad about us. And he, with the help of Otter, Otter is his brother. I mean, both dragons are brothers, right? So they both are going to hunt us. So in the final battle with these two dragon brothers, we'll kill them off, and this leads us to kill the third dragon, Fafnir, who is back guarding his treasure. I mean, after we freed him in God of War 2018, he just goes back to his treasure and he guards it, because he's a greedy dragon, and all he wants is just that treasure. He just wants nothing more. He doesn't care about his family, he doesn't care about his brothers anymore. He just wants that treasure to be guarded by him, and he just wants the treasure all by himself. And I believe the dragons turning against us should be with a proper reason and a proper setup, so that we will be able to feel the both sides, same as how we felt with Freya and Balder, right? Considering Sigurd has his powerful sword Gran, I think Odin will see it as an opportunity to kill us, and just take this chance against us, right? So in which he has nothing to lose. Like Odin has just nothing to lose. Sigurd is just a simple pawn, and we know Odin is actually a master of manipulator. Like he can just manipulate anybody's mind, right? So Odin has this ability to actually manipulate anybody's mind, and which in turn it becomes into his favor, right? So also this is a way to showcase the Odin's evil nature, right? So all the heavy lifting and the loss is for the dragon Reginn, who considers Sigurd as his own son, right? So they got this emotional bonding between those two, dragon being his father and Sigurd being his son. I'm pretty sure they both have this good relationship between them, even though Sigurd kills his father in the Norse mythology. I mean, Sigurd kills Reginn in Norse mythology. So before that, they had this amazing relationship between those two. So this is my theory about how dragons will play out in the next game, boys, and I believe it will be in the form of a side quest. It won't be as a part of main story, where we will be getting all those rewards for killing the dragons. And there is a side quest in God of War where we get to know that the son actually betrayed his own father, and just watching it on screen with Kratos and Atreus present in that scene, just hits different, man. Like being an OG God of War fan, is just hits different because Kratos himself killed his own father, and we are going into a side quest, and at the end we'll get to know that his son actually betrayed his father. So it just hits different. And also after watching the mural in the Jotunheim, this is my theory about the dragons, man, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. And once again, thank you so much, Shayne, for letting me in the video to discuss about dragons. It was really fun, man. Thank you so much.
And that is the secrets of the dragons in God of War. Thank you all for your time and your support. And if you would like to support the channel a little bit further, you can always think about joining my Patreon. It would really mean a lot to me. And don't forget to check out Claus Harsha's channel. His link is in the description right down below. My name is Shayne Static. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.